Welcome to Quick Shots, a short format traditional archery podcast, where we introduce you to some of the world's most influential traditional archers, and occasionally, some random dudes. Help keep this content ad-free by supporting us on patreon.com/archerygeek. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, archerypass.com, for all your traditional archery needs. Hey everyone, welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm your host, Mick Chambers, and we're here with John Demmer. You have too many accolades for me to list, so maybe I'll just put them in the show notes, man. But it's always a pleasure to have you on the show because you're a champion. I love it. I love being this close. I love being this close to a champion. This is as close as I ever get. Except for that time you told me. What's that?
Sometimes a loser too, so.
Oh man, I haven't seen you since the single string boot camp where you told me I was fat. Hey, yeah. How's that going? How's that going? How's that weight
going?
It's
going. Yeah, down like probably since I got a little fatter since the last time you saw me. And then I got skinnier. So probably 20 pounds less than what you saw me at.
Really? 20 pounds?
Yeah. But wow. Like I said, I did get fatter since the last time I saw you. So I'm down like 26 from the peak.
Oh my gosh. What's the, not to get too deep into this, but what spurred that on? Like, just like.
Just bending over, tying your shoe, and you're like, got like 3 rolls in your gut.
I can't get to my shoe.
You're like, out of breath, try to tie your shoe.
So it had nothing to do with walking 50 meters a bunch of times.
No, absolutely nothing. I could do that. Fat people do it all the time.
Dude, I thought you're it's pretty. I thought, oh my God, he's trying to lose weight just so he looks pretty for outdoor nationals.
That's part of it.
For the shoot down.
That's part of it. If I'm fortunate enough to make it far enough to get on the camera.
Oh, I love how humble you are. I love it. So today, not typical, obviously. So for people who are listening, I want to talk to John a little bit about outdoor nationals. We kicked off here just a tiny bit, a little foreshadowing, but that's what you're prepping for. That's what you've been working at. And so just want to kind of, first of all, I want you to explain to us what am I talking about? What is outdoor nationals? And, you know, it's a tournament, obviously, but can you give us a rundown on what it is exactly?
Yeah, it's actually like 2 tournaments in one. The first 2 days are target nationals, right? So when you're done with the second day, that's it. That's your national champion. It's 2 72 arrow rounds. One on Thursday, one on Friday. Boom, there's your national champion at the end of the day. But they also use that for the qualification score for your rankings for the US Open portion. Okay. And then you shoot head-to-heads and like kind of, it's just like your traditional bracket, head-to-head bracket, all the way up to the peak of the pyramid, and that's your US Open champion. But the cool thing about Target Nationals is at the end of Thursday, we get to shoot our mixed team events.
Yeah.
And so they pair you based on, or you already have your partners picked out, but they rank you based on your first day of qualification score. So in the past, I was with Susan Snyder, and we were ranked pretty high, like second, third, somewhere around there. And what they do is you just go head to heads based on that same bracket formula. You just shoot up to the top of the pyramid.
Oh, cool.
And then after the end of Thursday, Friday, we shoot the solid team events, like solid 3 male team or 3 female team, and they go head to head, doing the same thing. So we get to shoot a lot of head to heads and have 6 hours, 7 hours of shooting fun every day.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot of arrows, man. And last year was brutal. Last year, like, remember, I think you were telling me last time on the show, or Matt was, one of you two was saying how brutally hot it was.
It was quite warm. It's not the hottest I've ever shot. The hottest was in Decatur, Alabama. That was hot. I mean, we're talking 90s, full sun, full humidity every day. That one was brutal. What was worse about last year was shooting the head-to-heads on the U.S. Open portion. You start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then
Mhm.
you're out in that field. I don't think Maddie and I shot that last match. Keep in mind we started at like 8 or 9, and we didn't shoot our match until like 5, somewhere
Oh
around
my
there.
goodness. Oh
Yeah,
my
it took a
goodness.
long time. We were done. We knew. I mean, we were done with our last match at like 11 something, and then we had to wait 5 more hours before we shot our gold medal match.
Okay, so just a little more detail. I wonder if we could just talk a little bit about, so it's how many, so outdoor nationals is there's the two tournaments. One is just straight scoring for 2 days, and the second one is head to head. People don't know that's just sort of the round robin elimination matches. Kind of exciting for camera stuff, right? It's a little, that's a little bit more camera friendly, and that gets filmed mostly. There's a lot, and it's up. Maddie and John's match was up, is pretty good one. But you won the U.S. No, you won the nationals, U.S. nationals,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And then lost in a shootout to Matt last year. And you're prepping now, right? You're getting ready
Yeah,
for.
yeah. Just started not too long ago. I'm trying to bounce down and drop the weight a little bit. So I just got my arrows in the mail today. No components yet.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're still shooting the same old setup, 43 pounds, shooting some 700 nano extremes. And just trying to get back into the swing of things. Just getting a shot dialed back in. Not necessarily really pushing for score yet. Just trying to develop the fingers again, get that soft feel, get the bow arm nice and steady, the aim nice and steady. Not super focused on tuning, like the final tune or anything like that yet,
Yeah.
but just getting the reps in, building the strength back up. We got what, 6, 7 more weeks, I think. 7 more weeks.
No, you got plenty of time. So you're changing your whole set, not your setup. You're still shooting that Hoyt, but
Hmm.
you're changing arrow setup. Are they the same arrows, or are they just new arrows? Are
I
they
got new ones. I got some X10s.
okay?
Gonna finally give them a go for 50-meter stuff. And 750 spine instead of 700. So I'm hoping to back out like 3 more pounds, shoot some like 39, 40 pounds and be good.
Yeah, you had an interesting take on this, and I can't remember. And I was trying to think of it as you're saying 700, 750, because a lot of people are going to be listening to this. Like I shoot about 40 pounds, and I'm shooting a 500 spine. And I think you had an interesting take on Facebook on this. Do you remind me what you were saying about the spine? I don't know if you remember that conversation.
Like, yeah, so if I think it's if I remember correctly, like Grayson and I, we both shoot similar spine charts. Like he's shooting 800 spine, but he's shooting like 39 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm shooting 700 spine. I'm shooting 43 pounds. He's shooting a slightly shorter arrow than I am, I think.
Yeah.
But we're basically on the same spine chart. Everybody else plays on a different spine chart for the most part. But the thing is, a lot of times when it comes down to tuning, you don't know sometimes if you're getting contact or not. Because I could shoot the same poundage and same arrow length and shoot a 600 spine, and bare shaft looks pretty decent. Fletched looks perfect. I get somebody standing behind me. You shoot that arrow, and the arrow goes straight, right?
Yeah.
But I'm getting contact like halfway down my arrow. I'll start seeing like little like drag marks from my plunger,
Okay.
and it will like actually start digging into the finish, and I'll see like broken little streaks in that finish. Um, and that was one spine too stiff. So like even though I was shooting 43 pounds, normal spine chart is going to say 600 spine with
Yeah.
the little cut arrow. Um, and that's what the spine chart would say. But for me, it was like one full spine off is too stiff. I didn't really score well with them. Like,
Mhm.
but like I would always score in a circle, but
Yeah.
like that circle expanded. And even though my bare shaft would be like no worse than an 8, I think I shot that bear shaft like 10 times and nothing was worse than an 8 and it flew just straight. But man, the grooves were just like,
It's
and then
just
when I dropped down to the 700, they were like bang. Like
really, yeah.
score improved. Yeah, on average, probably 30 points per round. That's a
Wow.
lot.
That's a
Yeah.
that's a ton. That is a ton. And at 50 meters, I mean, that's a tight group. That is a group and I'm pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. It went from my average group with the 600, probably 8.5 to 8 ring. And then my 700s went right to like my average group was a 9 ring.
Oh,
Probably well within the 9 ring on the good days.
talk to me a little bit more about tuning, because I'm interested in this. So, are you saying that? So first of all, 50 meters. Do you normally tune at 50 meters when you're playing that 50-meter game? So like, you're shooting a bear shaft at 50 meters, and then if the tune is good there, then it's good.
Eventually, I'm not ballsy enough to shoot my first bear shaft at 50. I'm gonna shoot a lot closer.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna shoot like 5 or 6 meters.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna use what I think is gonna be my 50 crawl based on past experience. Like it's gonna be not at the not up against the knock, but it's gonna probably be maybe quarter inch, half inch below. Typically is where my crawl is for 50. So I will shoot it from that crawl at like 5, 6 meters, shoot both, but I'll put like a little circle, two little circles on my target, like maybe 2 inches apart, so I can shoot one at the one circle and one at the other.
Yeah.
Because if you shoot 5 meters, you're very likely to bang arrows, even if you're not like an awesome shot, just because it's so
Of course.
close that you're gonna smack them eventually, and it's just gonna ruin that one arrow. And you don't want to do that from 5 meters if you don't want
No, those
you don't
those
have to.
are not those arrows you're shooting. Those are expensive. Hey,
Yep. So that's where I get them close, and then like if they line up parallel, the shaft lines up parallel from the side, looking from the side, like the tip,
yeah,
like they're tipping, up and down the same, and then
yep.
you look over top, and then side to side they look the same, then I know I'm really, really good. And then I'll back up further, like maybe 20 or 25 meters, and then if they look really good, then I'll probably get a little ballsy and go for it.
When you bear shaft, do you put tape around the end near the knock to cover
Uh,
it with the veins or no?
I don't. I mean, I shoot like 70 millimeter XS wings. I mean, they weigh like 10 grains, 15 grains total,
The tape.
even with the tape. So it's not really that big of a deal. Like if I shoot it and it goes and the arrow's going straight and it just goes straight into like the 7 ring,
Yeah.
I'm good. Like that's good for me. I don't need to fuss with that anymore. And then from then on, it's just okay. I might play with knock height. I might bump the knock height up a little bit and shoot some groups.
Yeah.
And if that got better and it got tighter, my average group that got tighter, okay, I know I'm on the right path. I'll bump it up a little bit more. And if the groups start opening up again, I'll bring it back down to where it was. And then, I might bump up poundage, half turn. If the group got bigger, okay, no bueno, we'll go back the other way. And if it got smaller, then I'm like, okay, we'll bump it up another half turn. And then if it gets bigger, then I put it right back to the previous half turn. And that's my final way of tuning at the end. But
What are you doing with the plunger or the button at this point?
it's pretty much, I mean, for me, I look at the plunger a little bit different than some people do. I just use it as a tool to get my arrow to where it needs to hit.
Okay.
Um, I don't plunger tune. Some people do. I know what I have used in the past and what works. If I'm using like 40 plus pounds, I'm gonna throw the medium spring in it and I'm gonna give it 2 turns in for a biter plunger, 2 turns in from the weakest to the strongest.
Yeah.
So it's only like 2 full revolutions from minimum strength.
Yeah.
And if I'm shooting like under 40, I'll either use that starting point, or I'll go with the lighter spring and run it at like maybe 4 turns in, and then I'll just move my plunger in and out before, just to hit the middle.
Oh, okay. All right, good. And then do you start off? Sorry, I'm asking all a bunch of tuning questions because I think
No
that's kind of
problem.
this is really interesting to me. So when you start off your when you're looking down the arrow
Hmm.
and you're looking from behind the bow and you're looking at the string and it's lined up with your riser in the center, when you're looking at your arrow tip, is it slightly left? Is
Well,
it
that
dead in the
that
middle?
um for me, like if I'm anchoring low, like I'm getting underneath my canine.
Yeah.
If I could get underneath my canine, I have a much better string like alignment. Like it's further inside my eye, right?
Yes. Okay.
So when I do that, my arrow is not dead center down, but the end. If I look down that bow and that string's cutting that riser in half,
Yeah.
my tip is just on the left side of the string. That's my starting point.
Okay.
But in my old days, when I shot like up here,
Yeah.
right, and so the higher I was up on my face, the more outside. When I let go of that string, my hand actually had to come around,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't like because I can't follow straight through back and hit my cheek, right? It just
Right.
can't. It has to go around it. So
Yeah.
when I was up here and it went around, my starting point for that was actually like a shaft and a half outside. Um,
Holy crap. Really?
because if you think about it, if you're like
Yeah.
coming down here, I
Yeah.
can come straight back further, right?
Yeah.
Way straighter. But if I'm up here, I got to come around
Right,
and
your
reach around
cheekbone.
my face. So that like that affects the way that arrow's coming off too. But for me, if I could come straight back, my arrow's more dead center. If I'm up here and I have to come around, then the first thing I do is send it a little bit further outside center, and that's where I start.
Wow, that's interesting. So now that you're down here, and the only reason I'm harping on this is because like a 700, 750 is a really weak spine
Mhm.
for 40 pounds. Like you said, it's a different chart that you guys seem to be using. That means you really have to get off the string like smooth. I mean, you must be like so perfectly back. I mean, I've seen there's one other guy I know that does like has really weak spines for the poundage that he shoots like 43 pounds and he's shooting like 700 spines too. I don't think that's typical. So you must be coming off super smooth. I'm not just blowing sunshine up your butt. I'm
It
just saying
um
it's like you are.
I think it's a mix of a couple things. I think may maybe it's just the way I see things, or my fingers they're coming off the fingers cleaner. My release might not look clean all the time, but um, the way I shoot is a little bit different than most people too. Like I don't force my fingers open, like I'm
Right.
not throwing it,
Yeah.
but it's like I'm consciously doing it. Like a little bit of consciousness involved in my shot,
Yeah.
and they do force open a little bit, so maybe that has to do with it.
Okay.
Um, the other thing is, I think sometimes some people are overspined and they're in that zone where they think it's good, but there's a little bit of contact. It's like just kicking the arrow back straight before
Right.
it leaves the string, so everything always looks really, really good and really, really straight.
Okay.
It could be a combination of both. I know people that tend to run super stiff. That's probably for the most part what they're doing is they're just getting a little contact, and it's like the perfect. I mean, you've heard of false positive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
it's same thing. Like false weak is your arrow is actually too stiff, and you're hitting the back end of your arrow before it comes through or when it's coming through the plunger, and then it's smoking that back and then kicking your arrow, and it looks like it's weak, but it's actually a false weak because you're
And
getting too much
and
contact in the back end.
the only way to see that is if you like have marks on it or you put powder on it or something. I
Yep.
don't know. Like, okay.
Yeah. So and some arrows, it all depends on what's on the finish, right? You have like the VAPs have like an ice coating,
Yep.
and that ice coating will like streak. But like I've shot Easton, um, we'll go way back there, flatlines that are 7, 8 year old arrows. They had no finish on them, so the contact on that was virtually like impossible to see. You would have to foot powder spray them, um, or put lipstick on it, something.
Lipstick.
you have to you have to put something on that pig to see it.
I think I just knocked my mic. Can you hear me okay still?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. Okay, cool. All right. That's it. Man, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, one more thing about this. Why are you going down in poundage?
Uh, just
Are you
too
getting
much
old?
fish.
Is it because you're old? Is it old because
Too,
you're getting really old now?
too much fishing. Not enough time to like train super hard, and getting old. Body's breaking down. It's hard. It's hard. Like for me, 40 pounds is like the cut, right? As soon as I get past 40 pounds, like I can maintain 40 at like this level, but if I bump to 43, I gotta shoot like 50% more arrows to maintain it. If I take like 4 days off and shoot 40, I'm okay. If I take 4 days off shooting 43, I get super shaky for the first couple days back.
Oh wow, really? And now, how's that going to affect your? Do you shoot? Are you shooting better, or you guess you don't know, right? Whether you shoot better at
Yeah,
40 or 43.
yeah, I've shot indoors enough at like that 39-pound mark, and that was like a pretty good thing for indoors. So I think outdoors it'll be fine. My arrows will be a little bit heavier compared to what I'm shooting now, just because of like the poundage versus the grain weight ratio. It's gonna be a little bit heavier. It's gonna be a little bit slower, but not a whole lot. I should still be pounding them out at like 200 FPS.
So are you? So where's the tip of your arrow with the third when you drop weight?
It's I shot it. So I shot my nanos for a little bit at like 39 pounds. Um, I have just a little bit of crawl, not much.
Okay. So are you lollipopping? Or are you ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. I can still lollipop it.
Oh, that's
Matt,
cool.
Matt Zernsack's favorite
I know he likes to
terminology.
say lollipop. I don't. I get that from Matt. But yeah, this is the way barebow does it.
We lollipop.
Lollipop.
Lollipop guild.
He does. He does a fantastic job. I hate giving him accolades, but he does a fantastic job. At the events at Lancaster and that. I love him. I love him to death,
He
man.
does okay. I,
He
I
does
like to say
good.
I like to say the last classic he did a bang up job.
Yeah. um, he's no PJ Riley, but he's okay.
He's definitely no PJ, but he's not too bad. He's not a bad Matt.
No, he's not bad Matt. He's the good Matt. The Matty is the bad Matt. There's a lot of bad Matts.
Maddie's the devil.
Yeah, he is the devil. He's you can't let that old guy beat you this year.
Just like Bobby Boucher's mother. Maddie's the devil.
He's a devil. Okay. What else can we talk about with the champion? What else do you want to chat about? What else can you tell our viewers that is gonna help them get to your level? We have to start picking who's the next, because you are getting really old, right? So you're
Yeah.
getting how many more years till senior?
8.
Your shit.
The next one's Grayson for sure, by no stretch of the imagination. If he is motivated enough to shoot a lot,
Mhm.
he is. But we can get into like the training
Oh yeah,
regimen, I think, for the 50 game.
love to do that.
Because that one's a little bit tougher because we do shoot a lot of arrows. We don't shoot many ends, but we shoot like really condensed ends. Like we're shooting 6 arrow ends.
Mhm.
And anybody who's shot indoors, 3 arrow end doesn't compare to 6. 6 is definitely more stressful, as in more stressful on the body. Anybody could shoot 3 arrow ends and not fatigue, but when you start going outdoors and you're bumping up weight a little bit, and then you're on your 4th, 5th arrow in that certain end with 1 or 2 letdowns maybe, then it starts getting a little rough. So that's something you gotta be pretty cognizant on when you're training for like the 50-meter game. Definitely up the arrow count. We're shooting 72 arrow rounds. Like if you shot indoors and you trained and you thought you were peak performance for strength at like maybe 100 arrow practice days, bump that up to like 140 for that 72 arrow. Because not only would I bump it up to like 140, my typical practice is probably 140 to 150 if I get to practice that day. But a lot of it is I shoot 12 arrow ends. So I double the arrow count for the ends. So that way, if I could shoot 12 arrow ends at home, I should be able to be fine shooting 6 arrow ends at a competition, because the competition arrow is going to be a lot more taxing on the body than the practice round. So that's
In
something else.
so in when it's not the shoot downs, you go get your own arrows and score them.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Just want to
Yeah,
let
and
everyone know.
it's a tough format too. Like it all depends on how like what your weakness is, right? Um we shoot 6 arrow ends, right? We shoot 6 arrows. Then if we were the first line up, we sit back down, we wait for that 4 minutes for the other group to shoot their 6 arrows. Then we take a 5 minute walk to go pull arrows, call arrows, and come back, and then do it all over again. So there's a lot of break time in between your rounds, your ends, I should say.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would try to work on that, like maybe twice a week in your practice. If you're practicing 4 days a week for this, I'm usually practicing about 5. Some aren't very hard and some are hard. Like if I'm gardening for the day and I got a lot of stuff to do in the garden, I'll shoot my dozen arrows, right?
Mhm.
Then I'll go and pull weeds or water, whatever I need to do in the garden for 15, 20 minutes. Then I come back, shoot the other dozen arrows. And so I'll practice it like tournament mode where I got the spacing, where I got like those 10, 15 minutes in between rounds. And then the other times I'll just go and just pound, 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 shoot 12, come back, shoot 12, come back, shoot 12, come back, which also works good on like the strength training as well. You might not shoot as high that way, but I'm never worried about shooting super high in practice anyway.
Yeah, I think what you're saying too, it's mentally challenging. It's
Yeah,
mentally.
it's mentally different. Like indoor, it's like a different game. Like indoors is everything's in your face. Like the hardest thing mentally for indoors is I shouldn't miss this target. Like it's not moving. We're indoors. We're in perfect conditions. Lighting might vary a little bit, but that target's pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, we should be able to we should be able to hit this, no problem. But outdoors, it's a little bit more difficult because now instead of trying to hit that 10 ring, a lot of times we think, oh, we should try to hit the yellow, which kind of can go backwards because now we're trying to hit a ring this big when we should be shooting for like center 10. We should be still trying to shoot for the X on the outdoor target. And that does increase. It does decrease your group size by doing that, like aiming small, miss small.
Small, yeah.
Just like indoors, we're trying to hit the 10. We're not trying to hit the gold. Um, but the end goal is to hit gold all the time or try to. But our main goal at that moment in time is try to hit the 10. So if we hit the 10, great shot. If we mess up just a little bit, still a 9, still success, right?
Mm-hmm.
And outdoors, you should have that same mentality, shooting that X. But a lot of times we fall under the trap of just trying to hit the gold. And if we're just trying to hit the gold, we're more satisfied too easy, and then we get complacent. And then the other thing is one of the harder things to do also is the outdoor conditions. If we get a little bit of wind, it's hard to mentally stay in the shot and make a well executed shot despite the wind.
I was going to bring up that the wind. So how do you deal with the wind? Is it?
It's different than most people.
I
I
keep
always
getting
have a
winded.
back. I always have a backup set of vanes. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with the XS wings.
Yeah.
But sometimes I run 60 millimeter lows,
Yeah.
but the low has like this profile it shoots up,
Mm-hmm.
goes straight, and then comes back down. Where the high 60s go straight up and then come down. So I take that 60 low and that's that first point and the second point. I'll take that second point and then I'll cut it. Boom. Mine will be super, super skinny.
Really?
Yeah, there's super low profile if we run into like heavy wind. Like if we shot where was it? Out in Columbus, Ohio, a few years ago, we shot in 30-mile-an-hour side winds the second day, and it was steady 30 the whole time. So there was people aiming a bale over,
Yeah.
and the unfortunate people decide to bring feathers to the outdoor tournament, which by the way,
No.
nobody do. nobody bring 3-4 inch feathers, 5 inch feathers to outdoor shooting, because if you get wind, that baby's going everywhere but the middle. So the people that did bring feathers, some of them were aiming 2 bales over because that arrow was just going so, it was curving so hard, right?
Oh my God. That would be
Yeah,
interesting to see that arrow flight.
yeah.
That's unbelievable.
They shoot, they let go of the arrow, and you're like, is this one gonna
Pray.
hit the target? And you're just like, too much. But they didn't know, but now they do. So that, for instance, that time I used my cut down vanes, and what I did was I just canted my bow just a little bit into the wind, and I found that angle that I needed in like the first 2 practice ends, and then just aim gold and just rip the shot. Whenever the arrow, it's it's almost borderline creeping into target panic. Like you're skirting that edge because you need to make that good shot, and you want to get that good shot off right when it's kind of near the gold, but that wind is blowing you so hard. That tournament, I mean, your average pro missed the target, their target 2-3 times that round.
Oh shit.
It was bad. Yeah. That was the year the armless archer won it. And a lot of it was because he could sit down and he was at a much more stable platform to shoot from that time. That was probably the only time he ever had an advantage. And he took full advantage of it and just pounded it.
Unbelievable.
But
Unbelievable.
typically we don't run into 30 mile an hour steady winds. So a lot of times I'll just lean into the shot just a little bit. The hardest one to do is if it's blowing right to left, because then if you start doing that, it's going to start falling off off of my
Rest.
rest as a righty. But
Yeah.
if it's blowing left to right, if it's blowing left to right,
Yeah.
I would have to reverse cant, and my arrow might fall off the rest. But if it's blowing the other way, I can lean into it just a little bit and
Mhm.
still shoot just down the middle, rather than messing with plunger tension. So
Wow.
it's a little bit different. I know Gary McCain shoots that way. Not too many people do. Um, but that's something you got to pay attention to, because 2 years ago, Dilly and I were going for the national championship, and it was pretty close.
Yeah.
But we had an annoying wind that year. It was like one end you're looking at the flag and it's blowing this way, right, left to right, but where you were standing, it felt like it was blowing straight at you. And so you shoot that arrow, and if you just paid attention to the flag, you should have aimed like 8 ring over,
Mhm.
but you really had to aim like 9 ring, and it put you in the middle. So like it wasn't blowing much. But then the next one, it would be blowing right to left. And then you aim 8 ring, and then you didn't aim far enough, and it went to the 8 ring on the other side. And that one was a little bit annoying. Nobody shot really high scores that year. I mean, I think we were, 630s and 640s that year was the
Mhm.
high.
Yeah.
But it was just an annoying wind. It's something you got to pay attention to, and it's one of those things, like just like rain. If it's gonna rain, it's, sorry, you got to shoot in it, right?
Yeah.
So if it's raining at home, it pays to go out there and shoot it at least one time, just to know what you have to do if you run into it. I get it, rain's not fun to shoot in, but it's always good to know what you need to do in case it happens, on the course.
What about humidity?
Sucks, bring a towel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. You get slippery, right? Your
Yeah,
grip gets slippery.
bring a towel, and if it's really bad and your hands get super clammy, bring a rosin bag.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a good idea. I just upgraded my bow with a JD3 grip. I love that
Oh,
grip.
oh,
Dude, I
I
love your
like.
grip. I hate to say it, but I love it a lot. I love it a lot. It just feels good. It just feels
Yeah,
good.
Paul's got a good thing going with that.
Yeah.
Whatever that rubber
That
thing he's
little
got
piece of
going
rubber
on
on
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like it's if it gets super humid, I'll slip a little bit. But
Yeah.
if it's normal humidity, I don't slip at all. Like if I shot other ones that were hard plastic,
Yeah.
and even where I live, if we run into like our average days, probably our average low humidity day is like 50%, and our average summertime humidity is 80, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
and pee it.
even at the 50%, if I put a hard plastic grip on it, like I'm just floating right into the throat. It was too much for me. I mean, the only way I could get around that was throwing some sandpaper on it, and I don't like shooting on sandpaper.
No, it just feels weird in your hand. But rosin bag, I never even thought of that. That's good. That's a good idea.
Yep,
Hey,
rosin bag's good.
what about on your tab? What about your do you carry a bunch of tabs with you or
I don't. If it's raining, I'll do everything I can to protect that tab. Like I'll have a plastic baggie. Like I'll shoot in a rain jacket.
yeah, I saw
No
that.
problem.
Yeah, yeah.
No problems. I shot one tournament a few years ago with Eric Yost and Rich Barker. I think we got
Yeah.
3-4 inches of rain in that 8 hours. It was just a disaster. But my tab was fine the whole time because like as soon as I got done, I took that tab, shoved it in my pocket. I had a in my one pocket, I have like a fresh roll of paper towels, super dry, so they're zip locked up. And I'll take one paper towel and I'll shove it in my zipper pocket. And when I get done shooting, I'll take that tab, throw it in that paper towel, and zip up my pocket so I don't get any more water in it. And then I'll go down, score, come back, pull it out right when I'm ready to shoot, pull it out and shoot. And it stays pretty dry. I mean, it does get wet, but it doesn't get like that sloppy, slippery wet.
Sounds very much like your skill of as a fisherman is coming in handy. Staying dry. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's got to work smarter.
So how do you feel? You're getting into shape? Obviously, we've been watching your weight loss online
Yeah,
here, so that's pretty cool too. What are you doing to stay in shape?
nothing.
You're
I'm gonna
gardening.
start.
You're out
We got
gardening.
Yeah, we got the gardening. And just like dredging through rivers. um, but no, the weight training is gonna start. It's got to start this week. So I'll start doing some light P90X for the first week or two to get back in the swing of things, so I don't pull a muscle and just go like half speed, and then another week or so later we'll start going 3/4 speed and try to get back into actual physical shape other than pushing water with the legs and shoveling dirt.
Okay, listen, I've got a question. Sorry, like a little bit more. Not so. Here's my question. What is your career path? What's your career path now?
I
I know
don't
it's kind of
know.
an open-ended question, dude. I didn't prep you for this or anything, but like, what's your career path from here? Like, you've won everything. You've got all your outdoor. You have a plethora of records. You didn't shoot field this year, although you taught single string field. You taught a really great course at the single string camp this year. You didn't shoot field. You're not shooting 3D, right? Indoor and outdoor are your babies, right?
Yeah.
But are you gonna go to any of those other games, or what are you gonna do?
I don't know. Like I thought about doing some 3D this year, but it falls on this. Our Target Nationals falls on the same day as IBO.
Yeah,
ASA for me is pretty much out of the question almost every year. I did it one year, and that was a one and done type deal because it's just so far away from me. I think the closest ASA is like a 11-hour drive,
yeah,
maybe 10. IBO, some of them are pretty far, but some of them are kind of close. It's kind of shame because uh, typically IBO Open Worlds is in PA half the time, and that one's like at Seven Springs, just outside of Pittsburgh, closer to me. It's only like 4.5 hours away, but it's the same dates as Target Nationals, and I just like shooting Target Nationals a little bit more competition. There's more shooters. I think there's 39 signed up for barebow right now.
oh wow,
Um, and there's just a lot more shooting. Even though I have like great friends that shoot the 3D, I do miss that. But for the most part now, I think I'm pretty happy just trying to help certain individuals out and trying to get them a little bit better. Talk to Robbie Wessinger a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Ryan Davis a little bit here and there. I don't know. I'm pretty content with that right now until like that major bug kicks in again, hopefully. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe it'll kick in when I get into the master class. I don't know.
Well, Robbie made Team USA, right?
He did, yeah.
Team USA. That's good. So he must have been learning
He's
something.
he's a good dude too, because like he's very open to like try things or just listen, because it's hard. Some people have come to me in the past and they're like, oh, I need to do this. I'm like, all right, well, did you try this? They're like, no, that won't work for me. I'm like, what do you mean it won't work for you? I just know it won't work for you. I mean, did you try it? No. I'm like,
Oh.
will you try it? No, I just know it won't work for you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man, I can't help you. Maybe Dwayne will help you. I told him that because Dwayne sent him to me.
Oh man, that's weird. Like you got a guy, world record holder, and he's telling you, "Hey, just go try this." Why wouldn't you try it? I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's not gonna hurt anything. If it's something you've never done, just you know, give it a whirl. You might like it or you might not.
Give it a
If
whirl, girl. Yeah.
if I didn't give a lot of things a shot, um, I would probably be still shooting 440s indoors.
Hey, are you making fun of me? Hey, dude. So it's
I'm shooting with Jeff.
hey, don't make fun of my
Jeff's a
boss.
good
I love
Jeff's
that
a good
guy.
dude too. Jeff's
Yeah,
a good dude too.
I love that dude. I love that dude. Um, um, sounds a lot like you want to coach.
uh, yes and no.
Does sound, dude? It sounds a lot like you want to coach.
Yes and no. Someday. I'm not like Frank. I can still do it. So only
Frank last year did a good job. Frank was really
Frank did really good last
really
year.
good last year. Do
We were all
not,
surprised.
dude. He was rocks. Like he was. Oh, everything was perfect.
I'm trying. I'm
He
just
was
trying
looking
to
good.
lay the backhanded compliments like
Yeah, I know.
right out the park.
I know. Yeah, back. Well, I think that's a PA thing too. That's anyone up north. It's all backhanded compliments. There's no like, hey, yeah, he did really good for Frank.
Frank, yeah,
Oh,
that was pretty good for Frank.
dude, he did good. I thought he
Yeah,
did.
he did really good. It's
Yeah,
always in him. He's just got to find it sometimes, just like everybody else, really.
yeah, yeah. It's some of that, and especially at 50 meters. Some people just have really great days, and some people have really poor
Yeah,
days.
yeah. The 50-meter game, I think, is like the hardest game of them all.
For sure.
Just because indoors you can screw up a lot of things and still hit yellow because it's close. Like
Yeah.
you can dump your shot
Yep.
and still be yellow sometimes. Where if you dump your shot at 50, it's like 6, like
Yeah.
every time. Like you
Yep.
don't get away with nearly as much outdoors. Just when you mess up, it just usually two wrongs don't make a right at 50. That's all I'm saying. I saw some videos of people shooting the classic, and there was a lot of wrong going on, but they were still hitting.
They're
But
hitting.
50 meters, they're not going to be hitting.
No,
But
no. You're right, man. You cannot creep on 50 meters at all. If your shot,
no,
if you don't have a consistent shot, you're toast. You are
it's
toast.
harder.
That's a long way for an arrow to go. Like
Yeah,
for a recurve arrow to go, at least anyway.
it's starting to push it. Yeah.
Yeah. So are,
But
yeah. So are there any longbow guys there?
I haven't.
Looks like
I don't remember ever seeing any.
that'd be
We're
funny. That'd be interesting.
every year we shoot, we're pulling less and less arrows out of the dirt, so that's good.
That is
We
good
still
news.
we still have to listen to the compounders be like, "Oh, we're always waiting on barebow. They're pulling arrows out of the dirt every end." And we're like, "We're always waiting for you guys because you guys keep breaking your crap."
There isn't one tournament I've been to, like one shoot, 3D shoot, that we weren't waiting on. There wasn't a line behind compound shooters.
Yeah,
They're
it
always
it's
those guys.
it's funny, man. I don't know. Archery is archery. We just gotta enjoy it. for every like extra 15 seconds someone's digging an arrow out of the dirt, we're still waiting on your ass to shoot the full 5 minutes. So
Did we talk about that last time about you shooting compound? Did we talk?
uh
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. So,
And I just
but we
cursed,
did
and I'm
talk about
sorry
prize.
about
We did talk about
that.
prize. What was that? Sorry, say that again.
I said I just cursed too, and I'm sorry about that one. You'll have to beep.
No, you. I don't give a shit. So hey, but would you ever consider shooting compound because of the money?
Uh, if I did it all over again, I probably would have.
Yeah, it's just the more
Because I shot it pretty well. Just when I was really into it, we just didn't have anybody around that was like super awesome to keep pushing.
yeah.
But I don't know. I probably would do it.
It's like those. I don't know if you watch the golf scene at all, but those golfers that are going over to Dubai now.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
A lot of people are hating it. They're like, all the PGA Tour players are hating on them so hard. But
yeah.
it's about time they had some competition.
No, exactly right. Yeah, get some
What's
competition
and what's wrong with getting more people involved? Like, is
and
it really that bad?
making some money, making a bit of money.
Yeah,
Off it. Yeah,
it's going to push PGA to do bigger and better things than just being stagnant and maybe going on this incline when they could be just skyrocketing. It's no different than like the NBA back in the 80s to 90s to 2000s, and the payrolls just went,
yeah,
because people got out to more people, and got more people involved, and sponsorship grew, and
yeah.
more power to it. I hope the live tour does great, and it pushes golf even more.
I'll watch it. I'll watch because I'm a left-hander, and I like Phil Mickelson, so he's over there, and so yeah,
Yeah.
I will watch it, no doubt. And I don't watch a lot of golf. I shouldn't say that. I'm like, I actually like golf. I like it a lot. We live on a golf course here, and I get out as much as I possibly can. But it takes away a lot from my archery. I only have time for one hobby, man. I don't know
It's
how you
tough.
do fishing and archery and gardening. I mean,
It's
I don't
tough.
know.
So for me, it's lucky. I'm more focused on trout. So come summertime, usually the trout opportunities go way down because they're very temperature oriented.
Yeah,
As soon as that water temp gets too high, they're not like bass where you can fish them year round and it's not
yeah,
going to hurt the fish.
yeah.
If the water temps get too high and you fight the fish, you're going to hurt the fish.
Uh,
So for summertime, there's a cutoff most of the years. So I can't go out and ethically fish, you know,
mhm.
4 nights a week. I have to cut that back down to maybe one night, and I got to pick that particularly um, cool night where it was cool for a couple days prior, and that
Mhm.
water temp came back down. So that's trout fishing works out pretty good for the summertime. And then wintertime trout fishing sucks in my area. So they're really, really hard to catch on this freestoner. So it works out good. I can shoot winter, I'll shoot winter and shoot summer. Fall,
Do you,
spring
is
and
there,
fall. Spring and fall, on the other hand, is a different story.
so is there a reason why you go after trout, not bass?
Uh,
They're
it's
better looking fish.
I think it's like I think it's more like if I did a parallel with archery, I think it's more like barebow where you got to be to shoot it better. You got to be like really in tune with a lot more stuff. There's more. I think brown trout's the hardest fish to catch. Hardest freshwater fish to catch because they're like a lazy fish. They're not going to chase anything like a bass will chase. A smallmouth will chase. Like you could do a lot of things wrong with a smallmouth, and it's going to come up and just smoke it. Where a trout, you get them, they're lazy. Like they're just going to be in this line right here, and they're just going to swim, and you got to put it in front of them and have to drift it through them, and then they'll try it. I mean, they're opportunistic too. If they see something weird, like if they see like the thing's coming down and it goes sideways a little bit, they ain't gonna touch it. But if it's coming perfect right at them, for the most part, they're gonna be curious and try it once,
Mm.
um, and they're gonna know within a half a second if it's not food, and they're just hit it really quick. So you got to be like on your game. You got to make perfect casts. You got to be on your game. You got to do a lot of things right. You can still at times do a lot of things wrong and catch fish, but you're generally not going to catch the bigger ones. So that's why I like it. It's very techy. You got to dial in everything perfect, and you got to make the perfect cast. And then sometimes perfect casts don't work anyway. Like today, I made a lot of great casts, fished really good, but didn't really do well until the end when the water cooled down another degree or two, and then they got on fire and was making the same cast I did the prior 2 hours, but then the last half hour, man, it just lit right up.
Yeah. That's funny how fishing goes, you know. It's just one of those things. Hit and
That's
miss.
why that's why they call it fishing and not catching.
Catching. That's funny, man. Why didn't I ever hear that before? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Hey,
I just got a new awesome fishing shirt, by the way.
yeah,
I'm not wearing it,
yeah.
but I'm gonna be wearing it at Target Nationals, and it's a I don't know what's on the front, if it's a trout or something. And on the back it says sometimes you just gotta keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Keep your mouth shut, throw bombs. Hey, what do you spend more money on? Fishing or archery?
Fishing.
Yeah.
I just gotta
My
find
wife doesn't hear this.
I gotta buy. Well, archery is I've been blessed and got a lot of stuff through the years. I just gotta find a fishing sponsor.
Yeah. Who's your sponsor? Who's your archery sponsor?
Um, I haven't been signed with Hoyt for a while. But they still, if I need something, I'll ask. I haven't asked for a while because I
Okay.
found something I really like. And Arrow Company was Carbon Express. They were awesome. But then they stopped doing Target stuff.
Yeah.
So kind of searching now,
You
but
looking?
I'm not doing Victory though.
Oh God. Okay. Hey, hey, all right, we're not talking about it, but anyone.
Faps are crap.
Hey man, thanks very much for joining me today. This was
No
this was
problem,
a fun
brother.
chat. This was really good. Um,
Some
uh,
good joshing too, companies and people and whatnot.
I'm gonna end this so we can talk about whatever we want now. All right. Take care, man. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff. You know what to do, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Hunt the good stuff, man.
And if you really don't like it, smash that thumbs down button twice.
Hit it twice. Oh. Adios, amigo.